Every year in the SCCA, the very best drivers in the Spec Racer Ford convene all at once to have one last shot at victory in the year. In 2019, the SCCA runoffs were hosted by Virginia International Raceway, where drivers found themselves culminating the ups and downs of the season with the ups and downs of VIR. Thanks to the power of virtual racing and with the help of the SRF Weekend Warriors, today we bring you the 25th SRF vRunoffs Big Grid event, once again live from the historic Virginia International Raceway. You'll see all the madness unfold here on the Global SimRacing Channel, where up in the booth you'll find Peter Mackay alongside yours truly, Nick Schmeg. Joe Peak will be directing, and as always, he'll be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Virginia International Raceway is a track whose future has been a bit fuzzy at times, but in recent years, its excitement has been anything but that. Before we unleash the 60 hungry SRF drivers today, let's get a better understanding of what they're up against today with the help from the GSRC track guide.
Welcome to Virginia International Raceway. This track near the southern border of its namesake has had the rare blessing of being resurrected from the dead. With 2 decades of use in its modern incarnation and still drawing regular visits from IMSA and Trans Am, it's safe to say that VIR is back and thriving. The owners didn't skimp on refurbishing the place either. An impressive 7 versions are available to run on iRacing, with viewing areas that include posh villas near South Bend that can be rented by fans. The track's long and complex layout has earned it some colorful corner names too. The horseshoe kicks things off right away with a never-ending double apexer that tends to suck the greedy out into its runoff. Later on, fast cars lacking downforce are sent through the terrifying climbing S's and spit out of the steep drop of South Bend. Of course, there's perhaps the most famous turn of Oak Tree, which has sadly lost its eponymous flora in real life, but is retained here in the virtual world. Let's not forget one of the scariest obstacles at the end of the lap, the roller coaster. The incredible speed drivers carry up into this blind braking zone is what causes it to require such immense bravery in order to get the most out of a lap. As you'd expect, the high number of corners makes passing rather difficult. Add in the fact that many of them are dangerously swift, and track position can wind up being a major factor in races. With the picturesque backdrop of the Appalachians around them, fans are not left wanting when they come to watch drivers face off at this historic track. It's no wonder the circuit has found success in its second chance at life.
There you see the ups and downs that I was talking about. Peter, this track, like I mentioned, very historic, but from a driver's perspective, it's quite a bit of fun.
It is. It's to my mind, VIR is one of the finest motorsport facilities anywhere in the world, and it's just a beautiful place to go racing first and foremost. But the entire track, basically dictated by the contours of the land. It was actually built in 1957 by the Strickland brothers in the same year that Laguna Seca was founded, actually. And actually, the Strickland brothers drove round in their Mercedes 300 SL, throwing sandbags out the window to mark out the course. And actually, the famous Snake S's around turns 7 to 9, they were actually put in to remove cost, because it would have cost too much to drill through in a straight line. So there's so many things that contribute to the history of VIR. And as Paul Newman says, if there's a heaven on earth, it's VIR.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. This track is quite a bit of fun, at least when you're by yourself. We're going to have to see when we've got 60 SRFs out there what this gives us today in terms of a show. But it is a show that does have a sponsor. The Weekend Warrior series and the 25th SRF vRunoffs Big Grid is brought to you by SimStickers. Whether it's button boxes, steering wheels, or keyboards, they've got you covered. And now if you use the promo code GSRC10 or GSRC10 when purchasing, you'll get 10% off all orders for the whole season. You can find out more at simstickers.co.uk. We've got a bit of an interesting format today for this fun end of the season event. Peter, why don't you run us down some of our race details?
So we have a slightly alternative race details here for this Weekend Warriors event. So this is emulating the runoffs in the SCCA. So we're going to have 2 4-lap heats, a 4-lap B main, which is kind of like a consolation race, and a 25-minute feature race. Now, 4 laps might sound very short, but around here at VIR, we're well over 2 minutes per lap, about 2.25 minutes for each race. So the race is a wee bit longer than they might sound, but the one thing about VIR is that it's got one of the longest back straights anywhere in North America, and that's going to give some fantastic drafting opportunities for these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And there you can see actually Jason Perry right on screen. Take a look at that long back straightaway. It's a very hilly track, like you mentioned. A lot of terrain here that these cars have to deal with. But like the name suggests, this is the big grid event. 60 drivers in total here at VIR. And to keep up to date with all of the live timing and scoring, we've got a little bit of help for you over at GSRC.TV. All your live timing and scoring over there to keep track of all of the heats and the B main and then the main event that will be later on this evening. But right now we're looking at qualifying, which is it holds a little bit more importance than it normally does because the pole sitter, or the guy with the fastest time here, is going to go straight to the main event up in the top 3.
Yeah, and of course at VIR, that track position is so important because the opening sector is so tight and twisty, and especially for these little Spec Racer Fords, they are very, very twitchy and hard to control when the tyres are cold. And we're going to have a standing start race today, so the tyres will be absolutely stone cold. So having that track position, of course, getting on pole and getting an automatic entry into the main is fantastic. But if you can qualify further up the grid, it really enhances your chances to keep safe and get to the end of the race safely, because as we say, here at VIR, the draft is so important. So you want to be up the front to make sure you're in that lead group.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing that these drivers are having to deal with is new, as recent as this week in iRacing's new build, is that the Spec Racer Ford has been given the new tire model. These drivers, even if it helps them, even if it helps the car, the predictability of the oversteer, the snap twitchiness, like you mentioned, it's something that all of these drivers, no matter how much experience they've got, something that they've all got to get used to, and they're going to be off to a fresh start with that today.
Yes, they are. And these cars require such a different technique of driving compared to a GT car or even a single-seater. They have got an incredibly short wheelbase. They're very, very light. They're about 750 kilos or so, with a 1.9 litre 4-cylinder engine. Only 105 horsepower, so a completely unique car. And around the layout of VIR, where you have so many changes of direction, that twitchiness is going to be hard to handle. So it's really going to benefit the drivers who have put in the seat time during the week to get used to these cars on this track.
Absolutely, and those light cars over all of these hills might be a little bit uneasy, especially when they're battling through traffic. We are watching Daniel Sadro as our first qualifiers come across the line. We've been following the Weekend Warriors series all season in terms of the SRF. A lot of those drivers carrying over to this event. Daniel Sadro finishing 3rd place in the points over there this season. Top time on the board right now goes to David Gaspers, a 2:11.3. That's almost a whole second over Jason Staney in second so far.
Yeah, normally when we're commentating, you would say that that's a big gap, but of course here at VIR it's such a long lap. The 8/10 isn't as drastic as you might think, and of course there is that's not going to be too much of a problem for sticking in the draft if you're only that far off the pace. So interestingly, when we've got 3 laps to set here at VIR, you got 1 out lap and then 3 timed laps. And very, very easy just to step over track limits. And if you step over track limits, then your lap will be invalidated and you've got to go all the way back round to set another lap. So important to get that pace in early.
Yeah, and they've only got 10 minutes. They do have a maximum of 3 laps, but I don't think anyone's going to be able to get up to 3 laps. They'll be awfully close if they're able to put that 3rd lap in. We just saw Wyatt Gooden actually knock Gaspers off the top of the board here. I was going to mention how Gaspers was the Weekend Warriors champion this year. Once again, he had 6 wins, although we did not go to VIR this season. So a little bit of a new track for everyone in terms of how much they've raced there recently.
Yeah, so VIR is such a unique challenge, and there's so many different layouts as well. There's 6 different layouts that you can have here at VIR, and in fact, they can actually hold 2 races simultaneously here at the facility. It's an extraordinary place, and you know it closed in the early 1970s and only reopened again back in 2000, thanks to the generous support of a New York real estate mogul, a guy called Harvey Siegel, and his business partner Connie Nyholm, who is now the majority owner of the circuit. And it is, as I say, it's one of the most sophisticated facilities anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I would love to be able to see this place in the flesh someday. Jonathan Madden just went up to the top of the board as well. We were watching Felix Simoes. That'll only give him 5th place right now. And Peter, they're not just fighting for the pole here. Like I mentioned, that does put him into the A main. But the rest of the field is going to be split odds and evens for 2 heat races. So even if you don't get the pole, you're still going to want to be starting up front.
Yes, exactly. And of course, with such a short race as well, you don't have the time to gradually make your way up through the field. And of course, the further down you are, the more chance of getting involved in wreck as well. I have to say, Nick, I've already found my favourite driver, the number 97 car in that Spider-Man livery. That looks absolutely fantastic. He's even got the helmet to match as well. Full marks to Jason Perry in that number 97 car. That livery, or that paint scheme, sorry, as you say, that's got to be worth at least half a second.
Oh yes, that has been his staple of a livery in the recent seasons here. Always fun to see him out there. He's riding along in 10th place right now. Here's Emil Orza, who sits a little bit further down the order in 18th. We'll see him come across here for his lap. See if he can improve on a 212.8. And he will 212.7. He's going to move up to, well, he's going to stay in 18th, looks like. No, he'll move up to 15th, rather. How about Felix Simoes? Can he top that 212 flat that gave him a 5th, now 6th place position? He cannot. 212.4, 4/10 slower that time by. And Wyatt Gooden has gone back up to the top. He's taken Jonathan Madden off the top spot for now. That is a very close margin, though.
I said that was a great lap there from Emil Orza in the 981 car, but I have to say, I think that is a David Coulthard helmet that he is rocking today, with no gloves and also a suit and tie on. So that was like Mike Hawthorne. He very famously drove in a shirt and tie when he was winning all kinds of races all over the world. But I really like that 981 with the David Coulthard helmet. Very, very impressive indeed. Good effort from these guys. I like this series already.
Yeah, there you go. I've been calling the last dozen races here. I've not noticed that yet. So, pretty cool.
These are the silly things I notice.
I think that's going to do it. That is going to give Wyatt Gooden the bye to the main event. He's got the pole. So he's going to sit out the next 2 heats. Jonathan Madden is going to have the pole for this first heat because he's going to have 2nd place. So this is going to be the even-numbered qualifiers. Neil Sentowski and Felix Simoes are going to be in this. Yuangxi Lin in 4th place. Josh Arnold 5th. How about Erwin Rotkrins? He's going to have to come up from 6th place. This is a 4-lap heat race that these guys are going to have, but only the top spot, only the winner of this is going to go on to that main event, or at least they're going to get an automatic bye. The rest are going to have to fight out their starting spots in the consolation race, which we'll see in a few moments later.
Yeah, it is a little bit of a complex format, but quite good. I quite like a format where you get a multiple amount of races. So even if you do see one driver who has maybe struggled slightly and you expect them to do well, they usually get another shot at it, which is cool.
Lots of big names. I see Ed Doherty back in 14th. Hugh Haycox is in this race as well, 11th place. 26 drivers in total for this one. Lights are up as well, and they're away. Jonathan Madden's going to lead down into turn number 1. Not a great start back from Felix Simoes. A very good start, though, from the guy just to his outside. That's Yuangzi Lin, who's going to come up and take a peek into the top 3.
A really tricky braking zone here into turn 1 VIR. It's just a little bit off camber, so it's always nice to get through there cleanly. And look at Jonathan Madden in the 96 car, showing just how important starting at the front of that grid is, because he can just escape here as he heads into NASCAR corner and down towards left hook at turn 4A.
Had a couple spinners in the back, but nothing too major. See Jeff Jacobson off in the back. But up front, this is all Jonathan Madden all day long. He's going to start leading them up through the snake. Neil Sentowski up in second. Felix Simoes, then Yuangzi Lin. Then we've got some side-by-side back behind him. Alex Albert and Erwin Rotgrins are going at it pretty tough right now.
They really are, and this is an important part of the race for Niels Sentowski in the 39 car. He's got to make sure not lose the draft to Jonathan Madden, and they're right on the teetering point now between the 96 of Madden and the 39 of Niels Sentowski. If Madden can just ace this oak tree turn, then he could actually break the toe straight away, but it looks like Niels Sentowski's done what he needs to do to stay in the draft.
And we just saw Alex Albert lose it on screen when he was battling there for 5th place, so Erwin Rotgrins is going to have that spot. Maybe not for long, though. It looks like Josh Arnold is going to use that slipstream you were talking about. Meanwhile, up front, they're not quite able to do it because, like you said, Jonathan Madden had a great run out of Oak Tree Bend.
He did, and it's just such a long drag all the way down towards the roller coaster, which we were talking about this pre-race. It's going to be really, really tricky coming into there.
Hugh Haycox just went off track like a rocket. He tried to get up in between Rotgrins and Josh Arnold, and I don't know what he was doing through the roller coaster, but didn't even, there was no way he was making that corner. We'll take a look at that later, but Jonathan Madden has led lap number 1 of 4. These front 4 drivers have broken away quite a bit. I think Neil Sentowski might be the only one that Madden's got to worry about as of now.
Yeah, he's only half a second there behind Jonathan Madden when he came over the line, and he's right on his case. Now, we saw a couple of weeks ago commentated on a Skip Barber race here, which is very similar idea, low power and where the draft is really, really important. And sometimes it might not necessarily want to lead into the final lap, because you then run the risk of being drafted coming down the back straight on the final lap.
Jonathan Madden finished 15th overall in the Weekend Warriors points this season. He picked up 2 wins at the Charlotte Roval, the old school Charlotte Roval, and Brands Hatch Indy. He likes those obscure tracks, and apparently VIR working out for him as well. He is under threat, though, again from Sentowski, who's been able to chase him down, or at least keep him at bay, I should say, through the snake. See if he gets another good launch here.
Yeah, it's the most Oak Tree turn, the most important piece of track at VIR, because you have to get that exit just perfect. And in fact, turn 11 and turn 12 of Oak Tree itself, you kind of make into one corner and try and do it as one swooping curve. But look at the 39 car here. This looks like there might be a pass coming up.
Looks like it. Sentowski's got the outside, which is about to become the inside, but it gets very tight through the roller coaster. He's got to back out of it for now. Might be able to complete the over-under, but he just runs out of room on track. Now he's got Felix Simoes all over the back of him, looking for 2nd place as well.
Now, it must stress for our viewers here, our wonderful drivers, the 96 of Madden, the 39 of Sentowski, and the 313 of Felix Simoes, they're making this look very easy, but I have to tell you, these cars are incredibly difficult to drive on the limit. You've really got to build up your confidence under braking. They do have good braking performance, but you really have to trust it and work up to it. And they are incredibly twitchy. So when you're racing wheel to wheel, it's so easy to make a mistake as Simoes goes up the inside. Wonderful move there. Very clean, very safe, but decisive. But yeah, we cannot stress enough just how tricky to drive these cars are.
Yeah, Santowski got a great run out of Hogpen there on the outside. I thought he was going to be able to hold it, maybe even take the lead around turn number 1 on the outside, but no, he instead loses a spot there to Felix Simoes. That might be a much bigger challenge for Madden. He was able to fend off Santowski in the first 2 laps, but in the second 2 laps here, Simoes might be a little bit bigger of a threat for him.
Yeah, he's got 3 cars now. They're going to be a threat. Anyone in this lead group of these 4 cars could win this race. You know, we've got Yuangsai Lin. They're not too far away. He was when coming over the line only 1 second behind Madden, and he's getting a little closer now. So, interestingly, Santowski was the one who really equaled his practice pace with his qualifying pace, and Madden managed to qualify below. Sorry. In practice was below 2 minute 11, but just above 2 minute 11 in qualifying.
And on screen, you were seeing just a moment ago, a very similar battle for 5th. Michael Dobek leads that now, but Jonathan Madden on the back straightaway here. They've got Simoes and Santowski lined up nose to tail for 2nd and 3rd. Yuangxi Lin had a bit of a slide out of Oak Tree. He was able to catch it, but loses all that ground, and now Santowski's going to look around the outside. He's going to use Madden as a pick. Side by side through the roller coaster. Oh, it's going to get hairy.
Yeah, fantastic respect from all 3 drivers there. It's so easy to get into a collision there. Coming up to the roller coaster turn, it's a very difficult blind braking zone coming into a blind entry corner. And every single driver there giving really good room and really good respect. Fantastic to see as we head over the line here and head on to our final lap already.
The white flag is out for the first heat race of the day. Jonathan Madden's looking to go 4 for 4 in terms of laps led. Santowski's going to try to peek down the inside. Can't keep it there. Maybe he can get him back on the left side.
This is flawless stuff here from this front 3-pack. I mean, they've got to think they're going to be in contention. All 3 of them could be in contention for the overall outright win here today in these runoffs. Incredible driving, but I tell you what, it's all going to come down to that exit out of Oak Tree. Jonathan Madden has been quick through practice. He's been really, really quick so far, but getting that just perfect exit is so important because these Spec Racer Fords, they only have 105 brake horsepower, and even though they're quite light, that is still not much power at all. So you really can't rely on horsepower to get you out of trouble if you make a mistake. So carrying the corner speed is very important, but of course, carrying corner speed in these cars is no easy feat either.
Absolutely not. It's something that Jonathan Madden has perfected so far in this race. He was only about half a tenth off the overall pole, which would have given him a bye through this heat. But behind him right now, as they get out of Oak Tree, Madden's going to get on the loud pedal first. Santowski and Simoes might be in a little bit of a scuffle back there. That's exactly what Madden would love to see here.
Yes, Madden used every last millimetre of the track and a little bit more to get the very best exit he could and get on the gas nice and early. But here comes Santowski in the 39 with Simoes beside him. Simoes is going to go up the inside. This could be good for Jonathan Madden. Let's see what's going to happen here. Going into roller coaster, and it looks like Madden is... Oh, big slide there from Simoes, but Madden has got through, but it's a long drag to the final checkered flag here.
It's not over yet. They're going to have to charge pretty hard, though. Madden's going to get the nice run through Hogpen onto the front straightaway. Is there any kind of slipstream left? It doesn't look like it. Jonathan Madden is going to win heat number 1 with Santowski in second, Simoes in third, Yuangxi Lin further back. Right behind him for 5th place, though. Michael Dobek is going to get passed right at the line. Maybe not. Looks like he's going to get that spot over Robert Harris.
That last lap, Jonathan Madden putting in a 2-minute 12.413. Flawless execution under the most intense pressure from Santowski and Simoes.
So that means that Jonathan Madden, he will not have to race in the B main. He'll go straight to the feature, along with Wyatt Gooden. So there's 2 of our drivers that'll start up front for the feature. And now we've got another 4-lap heat to decide the 3rd driver.
have to say, Nick, I'm really enjoying this format. Short and sweet races means that there's no time. There's no time for waddling around. You've got to get straight down to it. And I'll tell you what, Jonathan Madden, I don't think he missed a single apex there. That was just a flawless performance.
Yeah, absolutely. This the second heat, you might see some more great racing because we've got some more big names in the field. Taking a look right now, David Gaspers, I believe, is going to have the pole for this race. He will. Jason Staney and Yernej Zorech are going to be starting up in the top 3. Daniel Sadro and Jason Perry going to be 4th and 5th. Some more good drivers down through the order. Ian Haycock's in this one in 7th. Our own Ryan Walker starting down in 11th place. 25 drivers in total will take the field for this one here at VIR.
Here we go then. I'm just waiting for all of our drivers to come to the grid, doing a standing start. Not easy to get these cars off the line, isn't it, Nick?
No, absolutely not. And for the Weekend Warriors drivers, they are used to a rolling start as well. So, might give a little bit of an advantage to those drivers that haven't been with us all season long. Lights are up. David Gaspers is going to get away nicely, but it's an even better start. It looks like maybe from Jason Staney on the outside. What's he going to be able to do? He's going to tuck down in line. A hard charge down into turn number 1. He's going to peek back out of line. He's going to be stuck on the outside, though, through turn number 1. Now everyone closes in big time. Yernej Zorech back in 3rd place. He's going to try to get the nose of the 82 underneath the 62 of Staney. Some cars spinning off in the back like we saw in the first heat, but David Gaspers going to storm away from all of them.
Yes, he's heading in strong into turn 3 and of NASCAR bend and left hook, and one of the cars off into the wall there in the background. But good exit from David Gaspers. But Jason Staney in the 62 car there in that light blue machine is not too far ahead. He's not too far behind, sorry. And he's just got onto the grass, but he's just about hang on to it. Perhaps he might get a slowdown penalty for that.
He may have already. That was a big hiccup. I can report, too, it was Ian Haycox and Steven Elson, 2 pretty notable names that went off there in the first couple of turns. They will not be competing for this heat victory. They'll have to get it later in the B main. But David Gaspers loved seeing that bright blue car of Jason Staney slide off the track there. That's going to reel in Daniel Sadro, who's made his way up to 3rd, and Yernej Zorech, who started 3rd, but he's found himself down in 4th.
This is the critical moment of the whole event for David Gaspers here in this black and green machine, number 21, because he now has the opportunity. If he can put in a qualifying style lap here, he can break the toe. That car behind him is too far behind to get any kind of aerodynamic benefit, any windbreak from that 21 car. So David Gaspers, if he can just put in a few good sectors here, he can then start to relax and control the race from there.
And we have seen that out of him quite a few times in the Weekend Warriors series. If there's anyone these drivers don't want up front, it's going to be David Gaspers, as we've got a pass for 3rd place. Zorech got around Sadra, who had a little bit of a bobble through the roller coaster. They continue to fight it out back here. Alex Simonich has gotten around for 5th place after starting all the way back in, it looks like, well, he started very far back in this race.
From a standing start, 2-minute 18.7 for David Gaspers. From a standing start, that is absolutely extraordinary pace. But Jason Staney, 1.6 seconds behind, so he's going to have to work really hard.
And Sadro and Zorech are off. They have come together in turn number 1. Sadro with a little bit of a bump to the rear end of Zorech, and they both go spinning off together.
Yeah, turn 1 is such a tricky corner. You've got real off camber there. Quite a long right-hander. It just feels like it can go on forever. But yeah, just a little bit of contact, it looks like here. It looks like they got together there going into turn 1. That's a pity because they were 2 of the front runners.
And huge hats off to Daniel Sadra, who did the gentlemanly thing, and he waited there for Zorech to get back out on track in a race that determines track position later on in a 4-lap heat. Definitely didn't have to do that. He finds himself down 17th and 18th now. A big loss, but very awesome to see our drivers have some fun, but also show some great respect in racing.
Yes, very good form, as we say here in the United Kingdom.
This has all happened behind David Gaspers, who's got a big lead over Jason Staney. That's going to promote Alex Simonik up into 3rd place, and Greg Stefani to 4th. Jason Perry has gone up to 5th place himself.
Yeah,
they start to spread out.
Sorry, Nick. It looks like David Gaspers is really stretching this out as well. He's a couple of tenths ahead so far. We'll see how it evens out by the line. But this is a perfect demonstration of just how important it is to be able to break the draft.
And Stefani just got around Simonik for 4th place, or 3rd place rather. But it doesn't look like that's going to be for long because they continue to battle here. How about Jason Perry cutting up through the middle here on the front straightaway? He's going to make it 3 wide into turn number 1.
Oh, and that's a tricky way to go through turn 1 there. 3 wide is into the braking zone. Here we go then. These are now 4 of them all dicing for position here on green. Oh, close, ever so close, but hopefully just about getting through without contact there.
There was a big slide from Simonik on the inside. He definitely made a bit of contact with Perry, but nothing too major. Look at how that bunches everyone up behind him. Simon Meyer, Greg Stefani, Francesco Bernardo, and Emil Orza have all joined the mix here for a battle for 3rd place.
I have to say, Perry's car, I wonder if in Jason Perry's car, I wonder if his spidey sense is tingling at the wheel of that car.
He's certainly hungry to get around Simonik here. He's got the pace too, I think. All of these cars have just a little bit of damage on them. They had a pretty hectic lap number 1, but it is lap number 3 that they are on fighting for now. All quite a ways behind, about 8.5 seconds, 9 seconds behind our leader, David Gaspers. We'll see what kind of run Perry can get out of here. Oh, not a great one. Had a bit of a bobble. That stacks them all up behind him. That's exactly what Simonik loves to see.
Yeah, that's so important for Simonik. Yeah, because that draft is just massive down the back straight there, and it looks like Simonik is able to get actually a little bit of a break. And look at this train forming up behind the 97 car of of Jason Perry, and I think that's the 308 of Simon Mayer going past there, heading into the roller coaster.
It is indeed Jason Perry. That mistake definitely cost him. Simon Meyer able to move up because of it. David Gaspers just now taking the white flag. Oh, Perry with an issue. More drivers spinning behind him. This was down through the roller coaster. I think he caught just a little too much curb here, maybe.
Yeah, very, very easy to do coming out of the roller coaster. We talked about it as, with the weight transfer in these cars. It's so tricky to control and very easy to just get it all tied up and end up on the grass.
And that meant Bernardo and Orza had to take to the grass to evade that, and Kenneth Bately as well spun in the backdrop, trying to get out of that mix.
Just noticed the 308 car is in Jägermeister orange. Very, very cool. Throwback to some of the fantastic BMW and Porsche race cars back in the day. Before Jägermeister was cool, you could say.
Well, Alex Simonik is getting a big look at that paint scheme in his rearview mirror right now for 3rd place. Great run for Simon Meyer, all the way up from 12th to 3rd place. 4th place, rather.
Yeah, that's a fantastic to make up 8 spots through a field as tightly contested as this. Brilliant stuff from Simon Mayer as he heads on to the back straight for the final time in this heat. He's ever so close to Simonik in front, but it looks like Simonik is really, really getting a good exit out of Oak Tree, and that's allowing him to be able to defend.
It is. He continues to reel him in, but I think he's going to run out of racetrack here. Yeah, he's got to get on the brakes. Oh, but a bit of a mistake from Simonic. This is all happening far behind David Gaspers, who's just come out of the final turn here at VIR. David Gaspers is going to go on to the feature event with a big win here in heat number 2. Staney's going to come home second place, about 3 seconds behind, and Simon Meyer has nothing at the end of this thing for Simonic. That is how they'll finish their 3rd and 4th.
Good racing for the last step on the podium there, and a brilliant move up the grid from 12th to 4th position from Simon Meyer. Very, very impressive.
So this will take us to our B main. It's another 4-lap race. The winner of that one will get locked into the top 4 for the feature. This is all the drivers that fell just a little bit short in these 2 heat races. We've got a lot of quick ones, especially, man, think back of that first heat that we saw. I mean, Neil Sentowski, Felix Simoes, they're going to be in the mix here. But you've also got to wonder, Jason Staney, Alex Simonic, Simon Meyer. We've got just so many big names that were so fast through those 2 heats. Madden and Gaspers just dominated those, but this will offer a good opportunity to those drivers that still finished inside the top 5.
Yeah, I think for Gaspers and Madden, I mean, they both performed beautifully in both races, but in the actual main final, it's going to be, I think it's going to be far harder because the depth of field is going to be so much better when we get to the main final. And of course, you know, this is a big event for these guys in the Weekend Warriors, and to be able to claim this title would be a big honor amongst their fellow competitors. So, you know, it's and of course guys like Simonic and Mayer who have had good races, you know, they can get better as the night goes on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll just have to wait and see, as these drivers are still finishing this second heat race. And some of these drivers that were just a little bit further back. Aaron Vagley is coming across now. He's going to be the last finisher, it looks like, who went from 15th down to 24th. Wasn't able to finish the Weekend Warrior Series. I'm glad to see him here. Neil Sentowski going to have the pole for this B main race. Jason Staney, Felix Simoes, Alex Simonic, Yuangxi Lin, and Simon Meyer going to round out your top 6. Some big names that went off track early in those races, like Emil Orza, Jason Perry. They find themselves down 16th, 18th place. Rockkrins in 17th, right in between them. But this is going to be a 49-car race. Might give us a little bit of a taste of the mayhem we'll see later in the feature.
Yeah, 49 cars. It's a good job we're at one of the biggest facilities anywhere in North America to race cars on, because we're going to need, even with these little Spec Racer Fords, we're going to need all the space we can get. That grid is going to be going all the way back to the final corner of Hogpen.
They sit here gridding up. The lights are up for Neil Sentowski, and they are away for 4 more laps of racing here at VIR. Oh, what a jump it was on the outside for Jason Staney in the 62. Unbelievable stuff from him. And then Felix Simoes as well with a good jump. He gets a little bit of a draft off of Sentowski. He's going to jump straight to the outside as they head down into turn number 1 once again.
Yeah, all the leaders getting here. We've got 3 of the SimuCube sponsored cars in those blue and black liveries, looking very, very smart indeed. Very similar actually to the Wright Motorsports first form livery that we see on their 911 in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship as we head down. Our leaders already through turn 4 of Left Hook.
You saw Yuangxi Lin spin behind them. That caused a huge pile up. That's going to allow some of these front runners to break away just a little bit. It's Sentowski following Simoes up front, following Staney. What a jump he had. It might have been, do you think that might have been a little bit coordinated between these teammates?
Possibly. There's certainly enough of them in there. We've got the We've got the 39 car in there as well of Neil Sentowski, who did so well in the opening heat as they all bundle down into Oak Tree, and we have an opening group of 4 people coming in there, but Yuang Tsai Lin's not too far behind either.
A lot of drivers.
Oh, my apologies. Sorry, that's Simon Mayer, not Yuang Tsai Lin.
Yeah.
My apologies, viewers.
Yeah, Lin and a couple other ones went off at the beginning of this race, and I saw, don't have to go there, but some more fast drivers like Alex Albert just had a big off as well. So 49 car field, certainly going to be madness all throughout, but Felix Simoes right up to the rear end of Staney. Can he get around? Doesn't look like quite yet. He's certainly got the pace, though, to contest that, I think, on the next lap.
Yep, all these drivers definitely got the pace to win this race, but it's all about how clever you can be in that wheel-to-wheel combat, because one thing about these Spec Racer Fords is that momentum is massively important, because they do, as I said, they don't have the horsepower to get you back up to speed again, so you really got to keep your corner speeds as high as possible to be able to compete.
You see Sentowski taking a little bit of a peek to the outside. He know he can't lose third place right now. He's got a ways back to Simonic rather, and he's going to be just watching this top 3 battle. He's going to be able to pounce if anything should happen. Jason Staney, he's not being let go yet by Simoes, who had a big run down to the inside in turn 1, and now as he tries to get back at him.
Interestingly, the teammates of Staney and Sentowski in qualifying, they could only be separated by 0.04 of a second, which is absolutely nothing at all. Just a cigarette paper between them in qualifying, so they're very, very evenly matched on pace. And Felix Simoes only 0.3 of a second back, so very close to.
These top 3 so close here on lap number 2 of 4. Nose to tail through the snake. That has got to be so nerve-wracking for Jason Staney, who's trying to focus on getting a big launch here out of Oak Tree, and he's got one. Unfortunately, so does Simoes and Sentowski. Great run off the corner for all 3 of these drivers. That's going to allow them to stay close together, and here comes Simoes with that draft.
Yeah, and look, they've dropped Alex Simonich as well. He's all the way back in 4th position, and here goes Simoes in the 3-1-3 in between the 2 Simicube drivers as he goes to hit the front here. That's an interesting call, to hit the front at this stage of the race. Perhaps don't want to lead into the last lap, but he feels comfortable doing it.
And he's even able to keep the lead with a bit of a slide through the roller coaster. Staney not able to get around him. That just shows you Felix Simoes, he thinks he's got the car, he's got the pace to stay up here. He'll be starting 4th place in the feature race if he can keep this thing in one piece. Unfortunately for him, though, we're not even close to done. We're only halfway through this B main. 2 more laps to go, and here we've got a big run on the outside from Staney. We haven't seen drivers been able to make anything of that outside line through turn number 1. Staney's adamant, though. He's going to stay out there. Tries to slip in underneath the over-under, maybe. Can't quite get it done yet.
Yeah, brilliant racing, and again, great respect from these drivers as they head down into NASCAR, and also left hook. Really technical section here on this VIR circuit, and really separates the very top drivers from the rest. You've got to be so precise, hit your braking points perfectly, and you've also, here's where circuit knowledge is so important, and you can really make up a lot of time as they head down towards the snake, and they're building up pretty much on the gas all the way to Oak Tree from here. It's a long way up the hill.
It is indeed. It allows for a big run from the 62 of Staney. He wants that spot back. They're starting to lose Sentowski, I think, a little bit. He's going to have to keep up that speed, I think, to stay with these guys, keep up that momentum. Oh, a little bit wide maybe from Simoes. That might allow him to apex Oak Tree better. He's got that done beautifully.
Look at Sentowski now. He got a pretty good exit there, I think, out of Oak Tree, so he can hopefully try and get the double draft here from Simoes. But actually, I don't know about you, Nick. I'm a little bit surprised on the draft we're seeing. I would expect us to see a bit even more draft benefit from these cars.
Yeah, that car in second place, which is right now Staney. He's going to get up in front of Simoes. Exactly what Simoes did to him. But yeah, we're really only seeing that second place car be able to make anything of the draft. The third place car, Sentowski, he's just been a sitting duck back there watching it all unfold in front of him. Oh, behind him, Simoes goes around.
And Simoes just tapping Sentowski on the way past, so that is just played into the hands of Jason Staney there, and that is critical. Look at the damage on the front left of the number 39 car. That is a real shame for Sentowski there. He was an innocent party.
He's got to limp it around for about 5 more kilometers here. Just over 3¼ miles. Simoes fell all the way down, only to 4th place, actually. Alex Simonek, the only driver able to get around him, but Simon Meyer has been waiting. He's right behind Simoes. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch him in this final lap. He seems to be maybe overdriving the car just a little bit, sliding a bit through those first couple of turns.
Depends if Simoes is maybe taking a little bit of damage, because after that clash with Sentowski. The difficult thing here is, as well, is that these little Spec Racer Forbes are quite fragile, so even a small bit of contact can cause quite a bit of damage to them and reduce their pace. But it's all played into the hands of number 62, Jason Staney, and looks like he's going to the finals.
Look that way. I said this is the battle for what will be 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and on back to start that feature.
Jason Staney through Oak Tree.
Yeah, all behind Jason Staney, who's pulling away. They've bunched up again. Simoes has caught these guys for 2nd and 3rd place. Is he going to be able to get any kind of draft? This is where we normally would see that 2nd place car, and that time, or this time rather, it is the 250, but Simoes doesn't care. He's going to make it 3 wide down the back straightaway. Into the roller coaster, Simoes with a bold move. Can he get 2 spots at once? Looking to get back up into 2nd place. He can. Goes a little bit wide, though. And here comes Simonek back down on the inside. Simoes trying to slip in underneath him. Unbelievable.
Great move there from the 250 of Alex Simonic, and no question about it, the 39 of Sentowski was really hampered there.
Jason Staney survives the last lap himself, and he will get it done for the B main victory. But behind them, it is Simonek, Simoes, and Sentowski come 2, 3, 4. Jason Perry is going to be able to get the job done and get a top 5 here in the B main. And so with that, these drivers will all stream across the finish line. They will know their starting position for the feature, where everyone, no matter where you finished in these races, they're going to be able to race in the feature. And that is what is going to give us our big grid here in the 25th SRF vRunoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be a brilliant race for our final, and I think what you're going to see is we've got a little bit longer race. It's a 25-minute race. It's going to be, you're going to see a big group forming and perhaps a little bit more door-to-door action. I don't know about you, Nick. I think the drivers have been remarkably polite with one another up to now, but I think when it gets to the final and it all comes down to it, I think we're going to see some fairly sharp elbows.
Yeah, they might be saving that temper just a little bit in this all-star event. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. They've got a 5-minute warm-up right now that they can get some of those nerves shaken out. They can get those last tweaks done to the car, and they can pretty much see where they're all going to line up here in terms of pace with one another. Those top 3 drivers, Gooden, who had the pole flat out in qualifying, Madden, who won the first heat, and Gaspers, who won the second heat, they are actually going to be inverted. Gaspers will have the pole for this feature event. Madden will start second, and Wyatt Gooden, who has the fastest car of them all here, at least in that first qualifying session, he will start back in third. After that, they will not be inverted. It'll be Staney and Simonek, with everyone following behind them in the 60-car big grid.
just looking in the session here, and Neil Sentowski saying that damage absolutely kills you here, damn. And we saw that pretty graphically on the back straight there, because we mentioned the lap before that the draft perhaps wasn't giving as much of an effect as we perhaps thought it would, but that number 39 car of Neil Sentowski was just a sitting duck there after that damage.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to be starting down in 7th place. The good thing is that they all have a backup car that they can whip out for this last race here, the feature event, the one that matters. 25 minutes, like you mentioned. So it should be about a dozen laps. Triple the length of those heat races that we just saw there. I think you're right. I think the nature of the racing is going to be just a little bit different.
Yes, absolutely. You perhaps the other way to look at it is that, you know, guys like Staney and Madden, they might not have shown their full hands just yet, so they might have a little bit more up their sleeve. If they do, that would be very impressive indeed. But the thing is, the drivers, even if it's not from the draft, with these cars, if you can at least follow somebody fast, kind of use them as a little bit of a rabbit, you can stay there in contention, and we might get some surprises. And who's willing to really stick it on the line to win this competition?
A lot of these Weekend Warriors drivers have had all season long to fight it out, and unfortunately for them, it is David Gaspers, their winner there over there, who had 6 wins of the 12 this season. He was just absolutely dominant. He had 3 in a row at one point. He had 2 in a row at another point. He's going to have the pole by finishing 3rd place in qualifying. That'll invert him up to 1st. And I think that's going to be their biggest task, is for Madden and Gooden and Staney and Simonic and everyone down through the order. I think their biggest task in the opening laps is going to be to not let Gaspers get away. You want to fight it out amongst yourselves, but you know who's up there and you know what you're up against, and that's got to be a little bit threatening for them. Gaspers, I'm sure, loves it. The fact that he was 3rd quickest, that he'll be starting 1st.
Yeah, it's a strange one there, but I think, yeah, for Gaspers, he's going to be the man to beat alongside Madden as well. But for the other drivers who are just that smidge behind, for them it's going to be fascinating, because they've got one of 2 options. They can think, well, it's a long race, I'll just try and cozy in behind the fast guys and just follow them until later in the race and then pounce. Or you think, well, I maybe don't have quite the ultimate pace to hang on to them, so I've got to try and back them up by maybe making a couple of harder moves early and try and upset their rhythm, get them frustrated. And sometimes, you know, we saw that in the 2-wheeled world in the MotoGP Championship back in 2008, when Valentino Rossi beat Casey Stoner, and after Casey Stoner was looking like being about a second a lap faster than Rossi, but Rossi just made his life so difficult by overtaking at every possible opportunity. So I think for some of the drivers who are just that 1 or 2% behind the very fastest guys, they've got an opportunity to make a bit of a nuisance of themselves, and you never know, might have an outside chance at the win.
Yeah, and I like that you brought up that old MotoGP example, because a lot of the times in those races, they were really worried about whoever the pole sitter was. He was often fast all weekend, whether it was Stoner or Lorenzo or one of the other drivers. You mentioned Rossi there in 2008. What their biggest concerns at the beginning of the race, it was always, don't let the driver up front get away, because you're going to be screwed for the rest of the 25 minutes. If he does, he will just continually pull away and create a bigger and bigger buffer. And that is something that these drivers have got to watch out for today, as warm-up has come to an end. Not everyone got out there for a lap, but Jonathan Madden was the fastest one out on track. So they will begin to grid up for the feature event, the 25th SRF vRunoffs, hosted by Weekend Warriors and SimStickers.
Of course, we're simulating the 2019 SCCA runoff here, and of course this year going back to Road America in October.
Yes, absolutely. That's another fun track for these amateur sports car racers in America to kind of sprawl themselves out with big grids all over the track. That's what we're seeing with 52 drivers that will be able to start the feature race here at VIR. David Gaspers, Jonathan Madden, Wyatt Gooden, your front ones to watch, but definitely wouldn't put it past him. Jason Staney, he's got a lot of momentum from that race there. Definitely feeling one of the most confident. Wyatt Gooden, he's the fastest one, but he's been very, he's a little bit cold because he hasn't been in the car at all today.
Yeah, also some of the drivers who qualified automatically, they're going to...
Oh, and it looks like the lights are up, and David Gasper, sorry to cut you off there, Peter, but they are away for the 25-minute feature event, and it's a huge start from Staney on the outside. He's going to try to get up into second place. Madden was caught sleeping there at the very beginning. David Gasper's already being able to pull away, but they're 3 wide behind him for second place. That's Wyatt Gooden who's going to get down the inside. Staney, he's going to get screwed over on the outside. Madden keeps it on the inside, and Alex Simonic to the inside of him. Now it becomes the outside, but they all start to stretch away right behind David Gaspers up front.
Yeah, this is huge for Gaspers here. This is the moment for him. He has an opportunity while the others are squabbling behind to try and make a breakaway. And if you're Madden in the 96 car, you know that you've got to get past the car in front of the 17 car and get moving and get on the back of Gaspers, because if Gaspers gets away here, he can just clear off.
Wyatt Gooden is not a driver that Gaspers has competed with, at least this past season in the Weekend Warriors. But certainly, based off the pace, I'm looking like he's a familiar driver to these cars out there. He's going to be trying to chase down Gaspers. Like I mentioned, this is not a quick 4-lap race. This is more like a 12-lap race that these drivers are up against. 25 minutes around VIR. And a little bit of an incident behind them. Neil Sentowski's gone off at Oak Tree.
What a shame for the number 39, of course, caught up in a little bit of an incident that wasn't his fault in the last race, and that is, that compromises his chances of a good result dramatically here in this feature race.
Quite a few other drivers behind them got caught out as well, but up front, all is well for David Gaspers, who was not caught by Wyatt Gooden. Jonathan Madden was able to close into him, thought he might be able to get the slingshot down the backstretch, but he wasn't able to just yet. Madden is under pressure, though, from Staney for third place.
He is. This is not what Jonathan Madden needs, but Gaspers is not getting away. Wyatt Gooden, our automatic qualifier in the 17 car, well, he is making sure that Gaspers isn't going to have it all his own way here.
Gooden starting to pull away from these 3 who all make a little bit of contact nose to tail. Madden, Staney, Simonic, and Felix Samo is being able to get reeled into this battle as well.
Yep, that's again bad news for Madden. He's got to push here. This is just the most critical point of the race, and we were talking before the show about how these cars actually they do take a little bit of time to get the tires up to their maximum to their correct temperature. We're about to come into that sort of zone just about now, but for the first lap and a half or so, it can be a real balancing act in these cars.
It certainly is. That's what Wyatt Gooden is having to face right now, and Jonathan Madden, really, who's looking to pull away from these 3 behind him, but he can't take his focus, he can't take his attention off of them, because especially when they have such a draft like they just got through the snake, and they're sure to get here on the back straightaway. He's got to watch out to not get overtaken.
Gooden's right on him.
Really,
through the snake section there, Gooden made up a lot of time on that 21 car of Gaspers, and here he goes then down the back straight. This is a huge long drag all the way down, and look, here goes Gooden in the 17 car. He's going to make a move.
He's got the nose ahead, now he's got the car ahead. Through the roller coaster they'll head through the second time in this feature. Wyatt Gooden's going to steal the lead away from David Gaspers. Behind them, it's going to allow Madden to close in as well, though.
Yes, I was just exactly what I was going to say there. Madden, that is exactly what his needs. Maybe the number 96 car of Jonathan Madden, his fortunes are now changing, because if he sees Gaspers and Gooden swapping places in front. That's just what he needs to get back in the battle for this win.
Here they go again. Gaspers to the outside on the front stretch. On the pit straightaway down into turn number 1. Can he make it stick on the outside? We haven't seen any luck there so far today. Oh, he might actually be able to get a big run here. The 21 still on the outside. That's unbelievable.
It's in a 2:11.2 there from
track
Wyatt
for
Gooden. Oh, Gooden's off. Gooden is off, and that he will not be able to recover from that. That is, oh, dearie me, at turn 3 of NASCAR, he just set a 2:11.2 P5, so he was really, really pushing on.
Blistering speeds, but too much for his own good for Wyatt Gooden. Fell off track just slightly, and he got back on safely, but he's going to find himself deep down the field now. Back in 6th place, but he's lost a lot of time.
Yep, he has, and now if Jonathan Madden wants to have a chance of winning this race, this is really, really important to try and get up to Gaspers, because Gaspers now has completely clean air in front of him, but more importantly, he's got clean air behind him.
And if I'm Jason Staney, I would love to get around Jonathan Madden, but this race, it's just for fun. It is just for bragging rights. They've got to work together. Madden, Staney, Simoes, and Simonic, they are going to be able to catch him if they work together, I think. Gaspers is just all by himself out there, almost 2 seconds ahead of them all.
I would think that pack there that's just sort of trying to chase on after David Gaspers, I think they're, I'm sure every single one of them in their seat right now will be really quietly taking this very, very seriously. And you're absolutely right. The only opportunity that they have to catch up with Gaspers, they cannot afford to slow each other up. So they have to go in single file and work together and use the draft to their advantage.
They're leapfrogging just a little bit, but on screen you're watching behind him another big pack. This is being led by Jason Perry, a little bit ahead of Robert Harris, James King, Larry McLeod, Michael Dobek, and Miro Hratsky. Very similar
Madden's
stuff.
off! Madden's off! Number 96, Madden's in the grass at turn 1.
Unbelievable. All by himself, too. Looks like he might have touched a little bit of the grass on the outside. Is that enough to spin him around?
Yeah, maybe just clip the grass on the braking zone, perhaps.
Oh, that is a heartbreaker. He looked like he had the pace to catch Gaspers, and yet another second-place runner today falls off the pace. Right behind him, James King followed him off track as well in the 23 car. So that means Felix Simoes, after starting in 6th place, is up to 2nd. And instead of 1.8 seconds behind Gaspers, they find themselves 2.5 seconds behind Gaspers for this lead. Still lots of time in this race, though. Only 17 or only 8 minutes in.
There is, yes. There's plenty of time to catch up, but they will really need to push. David Gaspers has put he's put in lap 2 a 2-minute 11.9 and lap 3 a 2-minute 11.8. So he's running very nice, smooth. He's very comfortable at that pace, I'm sure. And he's just got to minimise the mistakes. As we've seen, there have been fast drivers, but trying to race this entire event, of course we've had a number of races, to race this entire event around a track like VIR without making mistakes in these cars is very, very challenging indeed. Carroll Shelby, he said 1 lap at VIR is like 100 at Watkins Glen.
Absolutely. I was seeing this battle for 2nd place. They were kind of working together, though. Felix Simoes, once he got up to 2nd, sure, he was leapfrogging quite a bit, but they've been working together a good bit of that last lap to try to catch Gaspers anything they've got.
Yep, and they've spent a lot of time driving beside each other. The 62 of Staney, we know that he is really, really fast. And also Simonic as well. So let's see, and it looks like hopefully we'll be able to see Wyatt Gooden try to catch up on the back of this as well.
Despite working together, looking at the timing and scoring, they weren't able to cut that gap down too much. maybe just a hair, but Gaspers continues that domination in from the Weekend Warrior series right into the vRunoffs. Let's jump back a little bit. We've got a little bit of a break up front for 7th place. Jason Perry is trying to fend off a hard-charging Robert Harris, Larry McLeod, Michael Dobek, and Miro Hratsky.
Yeah, and that 97 car of Perry, he'll hopefully be able to use Madden as a little bit of a tow here to make his way back forward again. But you know me, I love that 97 car and how they've even managed to put the Spidey eyes on the front of that car as well. Top marks for detail there to that man.
Well, he's going to have to try to reel in Madden. Like you said, this is going to help him a lot. Even if he doesn't have a great run there out of Oak Tree, which it doesn't look like he had a superb one, he's going to be able to have a little bit of slipstream from Madden. Just a whisker.
Yeah, we've got to give a shout to David Gaspers. He's running such consistent pace, and no wonder he has an iRating of 8,700. That is extraordinarily high, and he is just putting in metronomically consistent laps. He's done a 2:11.9 and then a 2:11.8 and now a 2:11.7. So that is just metronomic consistency, and that is putting him 3.6 seconds ahead of the next car along with Samoa's in second.
Yeah, I was just about to mention he's somehow found an extra 1 second in that past lap over the rest of the front runners in second, third, and fourth place. Unbelievable stuff. A little bit of side-by-side between McLeod and Dobek, though. That's for 8th place. The 42 of Dobek trying to look on the outside. We saw Gaspers get this done successfully. Oh, as behind him, Hratsky is going to spin off just a little bit. McLeod's going to stay to the inside, but Dobek is going to take that away.
There's a huge battle going on for P2 here. Now, I think Samoa, Staney, and Simonic have thought, do you know what? We're not going to catch Gaspers, so we're going to forget about this teamwork, and we're going to get our elbows out, and we're going to have a fight, because in the opening sector or two, we just saw some really good dicing there between Samoa, Staney, and Simonic. So, although Gaspers is clearing off for a nice little Sunday drive, we're going to see a great battle for P2 and P3.
And so far, that's what we have been seeing with these three. Felix Samoes has been the most eager, I would say, to get up front in front of those two teammates working together. The 62 of Staney, the 250 of Simonic. Oh, but they get a big run on him through Oak Tree. But Samoa is also able to pull away just a little bit. That might be just a couple of tenths of a second. But he needs to stay in front of him as they head down towards the roller coaster.
And of course, it's really how you set your car up is going to be so tricky here. It's almost, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Le Mans. You've got one really long straight, and then some real twisty stuff as well. So trying to get that balance of setting up. And it's the 62. Staney loses it into roller coaster, and that's almost taken the 313 of Samoa's with him. But look at that, the 250 of Simonic. He's taken the initiative and he's off.
It was an ambitious look down into the roller coaster. Like you said, he had a clean run on Samoes through all of the draft. He was trying to leapfrog him, and instead just couldn't quite size that corner up properly. Found himself looking the wrong way.
And look who's back, the 17 of Wyatt Gooden. After that little off-track excursion, here he comes. He thought, I'll just take up the mantle here, as he shoves it straight up the inside of the 313 of Samoa's. He is on a mission to get back towards the front.
But Samoes is going to have the preferred line now on the left side of the track. Oh, and a little bit behind him, contact with Samoes. Gooden almost got knocked right off the track. Samoes is driving with his elbows very far out today. He's trying to get that spot away for second place, back from Alex Simonic, and he's going to do anything it takes to get that spot back.
Yeah, Wyatt Gooden is getting really beaten about here. Kind of feeling a little bit sorry for the guy. He's really getting beaten about in this rough and tumble action here. But the one thing you've got to remember about Wyatt Gooden is he has set the fastest lap of the day. He's our pole sitter, so he does have, when everything is there and he's got clean air, he can be as fast as anyone, Gaspers included.
Mo's trying to run back down Simonic for second, and he gets a big launch out of Oak Tree. Behind him, Gooden, another 8,000 iRating driver, just like Gaspers. He had a little bit of an off track, but he's going to be able to watch this battle unfold in front of him, because Simos is going to jump back to the inside. This is what Staney tried to do to him, and it didn't work. Here comes Gooden.
Gooden just got a really good run there as the other two in front were just battling away as they all come three wide. It's such a tricky braking entrance there coming into the roller coaster. Such a tricky part of the track for these drivers, and in these cars, to get the cars slowed down and actually maintain momentum through the corners, I have to say it's such a challenge. It's not a surprise that we've got drivers with such high iRatings doing so well in this race.
Smo's got that spot back, but for how long? Wyatt Gooden back to the outside on the pit straightaway, looking to turn number one. He's got him cleared on the outside before they even get there, but he's not able to shut the door. Elbows out again for Simos. He comes up and bangs off the side of the 17. The 250 is going to follow him. Alex Simonic behind him.
Yes, Samoas just does not think twice about trading a little bit of paint, and he's really strong there into that turn one, and he just lets off the brakes that little bit early and doesn't mind using his competitor as a little bit of a backstop. But that's okay, as long as it doesn't cause an incident, then it's not too bad. But it's fully aggressive racing here.
And why not? They're not fighting for points, but anything except bragging rights. Felix Simo's having a blast inside that 313 car as he rides right now in third place, trying to close up on the 17 of Wyatt Gooden, our pole sitter for the race, who got inverted back to third. He showed up as the fastest driver, but right now he's being dominated by David Gaspers, almost 6 seconds ahead of him.
Yeah, now you've got to think, we mentioned teamwork, you know, maybe is this the point? Oh, look at Wyatt Gooden trying to break the draft. Look at that, weaving all over the place. Oh my goodness, the number 17 of Wyatt Gooden. So for our viewers who are wondering what on earth Wyatt Gooden is doing, what he's trying to do is to stop the car behind him from getting an aerodynamic draft, or tow, as you'll sometimes be heard it referred to. And basically what it means is that the driver in front is basically punching a big hole in the air for you, which allows your car to go faster. It's this huge contact. Samoas and Gooden getting really cozy with one another as they head through roller coaster.
And the big benefit from that goes to Alex Simonic, who again gets another spot out of drivers making contact. We're going to ride on board here. 250 of Simonic, who got a great view of this in front of him.
Yeah, heading up here, you're just, look at that, you're just heading over the edge of the world here into roller coaster, and you see big lockup as they're both on the grass. How did they stay on board there? But well, I tell you what, if you're Wyatt Gooden in that 17 car, you must be absolutely furious, because you know that you've got pace, you know that you can perhaps match Gaspers in a straight fight, but he is just this is so important. Pack racing is just getting so compromised by his competitors.
And they just had a big scare. Arthur Grant, one of the lap cars, spun right in front of them, but they all stay clean. It does create a little bit of a gap between Gooden, and guess who's behind him now? Jonathan Madden has been able to not only get past Simos, but reel in these other two, Simonic and Gooden, fighting up front for second place. Nose to tail, bump drafting through the snake. Simonic out in front for now, but what kind of run is Gooden going to get through the oak tree? They've got to get there first.
Yeah, they do. There's nothing that sends you more of a shiver up your spine than bump drafting through the snake. That's you've got to be trusting your teammate there. Now, this would be, if this were Formula One, this would be the point where the 250 car would be getting a multi-21 call, or a Fernando is faster than you. Do you understand this message? Because in this case, Fernando is Wyatt Gooden, and they could be using his pace right now to their advantage. But Jonathan Madden, he's right in there. Jonathan Madden could pinch the second place here.
And there goes Gooden. He certainly is faster than the 250 of Simonic for now, but you're right. Jonathan Madden's looking to steal away the spotlight from both of these drivers and this team together as a whole. He's there. He's waiting to pounce, but time is running out as we are nearing 5 minutes to go in the vRunoffs. Oh, sideways for the 250 of Simonic. He's able to catch it, but here comes Madden.
Yeah, and that'll lose all. That is the worst place to have a moment, because up the hill you lose all the drive. And look at that. Madden in the 96 can just breeze on by. Mirror signal maneuver, but Simonic's not going to give it up too easily as he tucks in behind Madden. He hasn't given up yet. He's been able to battle well. Now, this could be a really tasty fight between the 96 of Madden and the 17 of Gooden.
Madden's got to get to him first, but when he does, I think he's going to be in quite a hurry. Working lap number 10, a little bit of a wiggle from Simonic behind him again. That car really starting to snap loose on him. Madden is going to pull away a little bit from him after that mistake. Wyatt Gooden is watching his mirrors and watching that orange and black car of Jonathan Madden get ever so bigger and ever so closer to that second place position.
Yeah, coming here through the snake, it might look like a relatively light chicane, but in these Spec Racer Fords, they've got to be so precise, and you've got to be so trusting in the car, and that's really where the very best drivers will make all the difference. And you saw it there with Gooden and Madden just pulling away from Simonic behind them.
And they're pulling away from Felix Simoes as well. He has just not been able to get the handling of the car back underneath them, as a power slide from Wyatt Gooden through Oak Tree is going to allow Jonathan Madden to reel him in. Here he comes in the 96. He was back in 6th place just a few moments ago. Now he's looking to get around for 2nd place, and he's got it. Can he hold it, though, is the question.
What does Wyatt Gooden have to do? You know, that's the one corner you cannot make a mistake, is turn 12 of Oak Tree, because if you do not get that corner right, you can be sure that your competitors will go past you. Look at Simoes as he goes down the inside. Massive oversteer moment. Oh, and he gets bumped off by Simonic. Simonic bumps off Simoes. Oh, dearie me.
And Simoes is going to lose even more. It looks like here Michael Dobeck back in 7th has caught him. Yeah, just as I was mentioning Simoes, or 6th place that's rather, for Dobeck. Oh, man.
Wyatt Gooden in the 17 car, we've got 2 laps to go now, so 1 to go until we get the white flag. Wyatt Gooden in the 17 car got really on the grass coming out the final corner of Hogpen, and but still managed to hang on to the back of Madden. So I think we're going to get a brilliant dogfight now between Madden in the 96 and Gooden in the 17, who's had to work so hard for this position.
And you just saw it on screen pop up in the top right corner. Madden has gone purple. He's the fastest driver out on track. Not good news for Gooden. He's got to stay in that slipstream of the 96. And he's got to do what so many have been able to do to him throughout this race.
Yeah, if you want to know how fast a lap that was from Madden, that is 0.8 of a second faster than any lap that Gaspers has done in this race. That is extraordinary.
Through the snake, big slide from Madden. As is normal with these cars and these drivers, overdriving just a little bit in the late stages of this race. Less than 2 laps to go out of Oak Tree. Madden is the one in front now for 2nd place. What does Gooden have for him in the 17 machine?
Well, Wyatt Gooden is in the grandstand seat here. He's in the perfect position to make a move, and this is probably where a lot of Madden's lap time came from, being in the draft on the previous lap. But here goes Gooden in the 17. He's going to go for the outside on the entry to roller coaster, which gives you the inside on the switchback, and he looks like he's made that with ease. But Madden's going to stick it up the inside, but number 17 of Gooden runs and defends very, very well. But Madden will be able to get back in the draft and come up to try and make a move into turn 1. This is fantastic stuff from these drivers as Gaspers comes to take the white flag.
He does indeed. I think Madden gave Gooden a bit of a shove there through the roller coaster. That allowed him to kind of launch off. And now we see a bit of a gap, one of the bigger gaps we've seen before for second place. Gooden over Jonathan Madden by about half a second. I don't think that's going to stay for long, though, because Madden's already coming right back to him into turn number 1.
Yep, through they go, and Gooden has got nice and safely through turn number 1. So that's one big overtaking opportunity has been defended. So for Gooden, he's just got to try and absolutely perfect this sector all the way up to Oak Tree, and most importantly, get the best exit he can coming out of Oak Tree to corner so that he can defend at the end of the back straight going into the roller coaster. But you know that it's going to come down to that corner.
It will, but is Jonathan Madden going to be able to catch him? Gooden looks to be on rails in this final lap. He's kept it at about 5/10 of a second ahead of him. Madden's starting to reel him in. He's going to run out of room here. They'll go past the Oak Tree for one final time today at VIR. Oh, hard over the curbs for Gooden. He's using all the track limits he can.
Yeah, Gooden actually putting half a wheel on the grass there, so managed to tidy it up though before the exit. And Madden's on the Madden uses all the grass. That will definitely compromise his drive. That could give Gooden that little bit of breathing space that he needs.
But is it over? Madden's going to have another run at him still. Despite that mistake, a little bit of tunnel vision sending him off into the dirt. The 96 still going to storm up and try to take second place away from the 17 of Wyatt Gooden. Side by side through the roller coaster, they're going to go. Madden's got the advantage. This is all happening behind Gaspers, who's going to take the win, but Gooden uses the elbows out to get past Madden. David Gaspers is going to come out of Hogpen for the final time, and he is going to see victory in the 25th SRF vRunoffs Big Grid. Wyatt Gooden aggressively going to take second place over Jonathan Madden.
He does. Great stuff there from Wyatt Gooden as he torpedoes off the track. Wyatt Gooden there, you know, he was so quick, so good in qualifying and really deserved that second position. And actually, if he could have got, as we said, if he could have got away with David Gaspers, I think that David Gaspers wouldn't have had it so easy. And Wyatt Gooden was really getting bullied about there by his other competitors, but really fought hard and a very well-earned second position. But absolutely big credit to David Gaspers. He was absolutely flawless all night long.
All 52 of our drivers in this big grid have to come across the line still. More drivers streaming across here. The pit straightaway at VIR. Some good battles like Adam Bradshaw and Greg Stefani. Stefani, who was real quick in his heat, he's going to find himself quite a ways down. 23rd and 24th for those two.
And of course, our two podium finishers, Gooden and Madden in second and third, both of them had off-track excursions, which cost them a lot of time. So they did really well to get back up to the podium positions and prove just how fast they were.
Absolutely. That's going to be all of our battles that come across the line. So we're going to step aside for a few moments here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. When we come back, though, we're going to have your entire rundown, the unofficial results, and hopefully some driver interviews before we leave. I mentioned on the top of the show that the excitement at VIR is anything but disappointing, and we just got a good taste of some proof to back that statement up here in the 25th SRF vRunoffs Big Grid Showdown. David Gaspers took home the win. It was a dominant 7-second lead and win over this fantastic battle for second. Wyatt Gooden going to finish there in second in the 17 car. Jonathan Madden going to finish just a few hairs behind him in third. Alex Simonik and Larry McLeod. How about McLeod having such a quiet race up into fifth today? Felix Samoz got caught out with trouble. He winds up in sixth. Jason Perry in the 97 finds himself in seventh. Jason Staney, who was very quick in the B main, finds himself in eighth. Ninth and 10th are going to go to Michael Dobek and James King. Peter?
In 11th was Jerne Zorek. 12th was Aaron Voegli. 13th was Chris Murakami. 14th was Alex Albert. 15th was Yuang Lin, one of our early front runners. 16th was Miro Hareski. 17th was Samuel Dick. 18th was Kenneth Batley. 19th Josh Arnold. And 20th the 51 car with Daniel Sadro.
Row number 11 is going to go to Ed Doherty and Rick Hansen. Adam Bradshaw finds himself in 23rd. Top 25 is going to be rounded out by Greg Stefani and Stevie Ray, series organizer for the Weekend Warriors. 26th goes to Francisco Bernardo. Paul Godden is going to wind up in 27th. Jerry McAreevy in the 67 machine finds himself moving up 12 spots up to 28th. 29th and 30th go to Lance Snyder and Jeff Jacobson.
In 31st place was the 981 of Emil Orza. In 32nd was the 88 of Ryan Walker, a GSRC's very own Ryan Walker from Grangemouth, Scotland. 33rd place was the 249 of Paul Jackson. 34th was Bob Kern. 35th Simon Mayer. 36th Kevin Boswell. 37th Darren Coyne. 38th Tom Gradwell. 39th Ryan Bell. And 40th Andrew Rosencroft.
Those are going to be all the drivers that finished on the lead lap in front of Alex Crawford and more. 52 drivers. Looks like we had 50 able to take the grid and finish this race. But we've got some drivers to talk to tonight before we go. And the first one up is the one we've talked to quite a bit this season in the Weekend Warriors. It's David Gaspers taking home another vRunoffs victory.
Yeah, thanks.
David, VIR, such a tricky track, but I mean, it looked like it came to you pretty easily. What were your thoughts when you saw VIR as the host for this race? And how did it feel today out there leading this race by quite a big margin?
Yeah, VIR is together with Belle Isle my favorite track on iRacing, so I was really happy about that. I had been suggesting to use VIR for the runoffs for years now. And yeah, since the qualifying system was a bit weird, in my opinion, I was actually hoping to finish qualifying somewhere in third, fifth, or something, but I would be in split 2. So that worked perfectly. And yeah, I think the top 3 all had similar pace, but since the other 2 messed up at some point, I was just going safe for the rest of the race there.
Yeah, that worked out perfectly for you. I was just about to ask you, talk about your heat race. It wasn't nearly as big of a win, but of course, it was only 4 laps long. The intensity was definitely ramped up there for that one.
Not so much. Someone messed up behind me in turn 1, and I was out of a draft after the first corner or so.
Able to pull away once again. And man, I feel like these drivers have had to deal with you pulling away quite a few times this season, but you get it done once again. I've got to ask you as well, what do you think of this with the Spec Racer Ford on the new tire model?
It takes some getting used to it. We have to run some setup changes that I don't really like, but that's just my preference. And yeah, the track temp influences the car a lot less, which is a lot better than before. With cold temperatures, the car might be a bit slower, but in hot ones, I think it's a little fast. Yeah, we'll see. At least you can now run some better brake biases without spinning.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the pace certainly came to you still, despite those setup changes. So before we let you go, David, congrats on the victory. And of course, congrats on the whole Weekend Warriors series that you were able to put together. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to give a thank you to?
Yeah, of course, as always, Steve for organizing this and you for broadcasting. it's always great to watch a broadcast of the race. So yeah, thanks.
Awesome stuff. You guys put on a fantastic show. Thanks for stopping by, David. That was Mr. David Gaspers in the 21 car, finishing on the top step of the podium tonight. We've got another driver to talk to. Peter, you've caught up with the guy who finished down in third place, the hard-charging Jonathan Madden there at the end of the things.
Jonathan Madden, third place in the vRunoffs. How does that feel?
Well, it's better than whatever I spun out and ended up in like sixth or something like that. So to come back and finish on the podium, I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
Yes, you really did have to charge hard through the field with these blue and black cars who were really making life difficult for you. Now, coming into the last lap, we always knew here up in the commentary box that it was going to come down to the roller coaster at the end of the back straight between you and Wyatt Gooden. Tell us about how you approached that last lap battle.
I mean, I got a good run on him. He did the right thing and defended the inside. It went fine until I didn't get third gear. We touched on the exit, but that wasn't really an issue at all. I was in neutral at that point, so that was the way that went. But it was going to be clean, I think, through the end. So I'm disappointed on my behalf that I didn't get the gear done.
And how we were actually a little bit surprised up here in the commentary box at how the draft was maybe having a little bit less effect than we thought. Was that your feeling from the driver's seat?
I think VIR is kind of like this for whatever reason. I think perhaps it's because it's a big uphill section, or if you get a train of cars, it sort of negates some of the draft because everybody's in a draft. So perhaps that's the reason. But it felt similar. I think it's been several years since I've driven this car at VIR, so I couldn't tell you exactly, but I wasn't surprised by that.
Oh, very impressive indeed, because it is a particularly unique and fickle car to get used to. I was having a few laps earlier, and I was spent more time on the grass than on the pavement. Before we let you go, before you go and celebrate your third place finish, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we finish?
Yeah, I want to thank SimStickers. I want to thank GSRC. I want to thank Stevie. And I want to thank all the competitors. It was good to race. See you guys next season.
Thanks, John. Have a good night.
That's Jonathan Madden coming home in third place after a great season. He had 2 wins on the year, but a driver who didn't have any wins this season, mostly because he was up in the booth with myself, was Ryan Walker. He finds himself down the order just a little bit, back in 32nd, but certainly I'm sure you had a fun time getting back out on track there, Ryan.
Yeah, that was good fun. I wasn't really aiming for anything this evening. It was just kind of just go out, have fun, just see where we finish. And yeah, it didn't go the way I wanted to, but around VIR and with loads of cars, it's always guaranteed to produce mayhem, and we certainly got that this evening.
I know you were excited about the new tire model being added to this car. What are your thoughts after getting a good 25-minute run in today at VIR with it?
It took a bit of time to get to grips with, but yeah, it's certainly the update has made it a lot more enjoyable to race. I mean, I still enjoyed racing it before it was updated, but just now it's a lot more stable, and you don't have to second guess what the car's going to do. But yeah, the update's been good. It's just a shame that some people on the forum are kind of not taken to it, but I guess you can't please everyone.
Well, do you see yourself spending some more time in this car now, or is it, if you like it more fun, do you think you're going to be more competitive in the official races here in the SRF?
Yeah, I would definitely be racing it. I would definitely be racing in the the Weekend Warriors League when I get time, and I'll definitely be doing the official series as well. So just see how it goes, and we'll see how the season pans out.
Awesome. Good stuff, Ryan. You finished down in 30 seconds today, but before we let you go, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Just Steve for putting it on as always, and who does a great job, and the other drivers in the league and the community as well, and also lastly to Paul Godden from SimStickers for sponsoring the series, and looking forward to Jim McGill sponsoring it next season as well. So it should be good.
Absolutely. Good to have you here in the booth on the other side of the interview. Good fun, good change of pace for us here. But thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, Nick.
That's Ryan Walker finishing down in 32nd today. And with that, we're going to wrap things up. We want to give a special thank you to everyone who came out today for the 25th SRF vRunoffs Big Grid, including all the drivers who put on the show for us today, all 50 of them that were able to make the Big Grid. We'd also like to thank the Weekend Warrior series and Stevie Ray for hosting the event, and also SimStickers for sponsoring today's event. Don't forget to check them out at simstickers.co.uk. And additional thanks to all the amazing companies that provide the software and hardware that we use to create a GSRC production for you. We also, of course, want to thank the very talented June DeLonge, who provides our music. See the screen for more on how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the crew today in the booth, Peter, Joe, and Dougie. And don't forget to check out the GSRC on social media. You can head over to our website, globalsimracingchannel.com, where you can show your support by picking up some awesome GSRC merch. We're also on Twitter at GSR Channel, on Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, on Instagram at GSRC_Gram, and of course on our YouTube channel. You've already found it, but if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to scroll down just a touch and hit that big red button so you don't miss a second of racing. Make sure to check all of our upcoming events sliding across your screen so you can mark them down on your calendar. And the next one we've got tonight is the Major Series, the 2.4 Hours of Le Mans, coming up next on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Be here for that tonight at 7:45 p.m. Eastern. With all that being said, thanks so much for joining us today, and until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.